For the question, do I need to or when to practice speaking and recognize Chinese characters? The answer is they are not necessary, especially in the beginner level, including speaking. Yes, including speaking. Because in the beginner level, we are like a kid. When we acquire our mother tongue, our native language, we have the period of silent period. In this period, we just input, we just listen a lot, and we are not able to speak them. When do we start to speak? That's the time when we are ready. And for this ready time, everyone is different. Some people, they are ready in 1 year, maybe after 1 year. And some people in a few months, some people in a few weeks, some people in the beginning in their first lesson. Whichever makes you feel comfortable, make you feel less stressful and sense of achievement, that is the time that you decide if you start to speak. Let's talk about speaking first. For the Chinese characters, we talk about later. For speaking, there's an example that I had a student before. He's very smart and he watched a lot of videos about how language acquisition works, how the comprehensible input works, how TPRS works, and he knew this a lot. In our lesson, I will speak nearly 90%, and he didn't speak so much. And until 1 year later, he still didn't want to speak. Although he already acquired the ability to speak, he could have daily or normal conversations with me already, but he didn't want to speak in our lesson. He said he's not ready and he wants to input more before he speak. At that time, he can understand me very, very clearly in 90% of our daily conversations in normal speed. So he had very good listening skills, a lot of input, then doesn't need to worry about the speaking. So this is how second language acquisition theory told us proved to be so, and my student proved to be so. And also I had a student, she gave some feedbacks in our lessons, and she said that she didn't practice speaking in Chinese, but it came that she can speak better Chinese than the other language which she practiced. What these two students do was that they both review our lessons, our recording lessons, times and times after the lesson. So they repeatedly listening to our content. So this is the suggestion for you, that if you don't find it boring and you find it's okay for you, that you can repeat listening to them more and more repeatedly. Repetition is very, very important. Just mention the first student, what he did is he record our lesson, or he cut himself. He only listened to me consecutively. So he cut those silent period. So you will see me talking all the time. So maybe 1 hour lesson, and after cutting, there is maybe 20 minutes of me speaking, native speakers speaking all the time. So he listened to this many times. Like he said, he will immerse in Chinese for averagely maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. He can listen to it as a background when he's cooking, when he is walking, taking a walk, or when he's by the train, that he will look at the video or just listen to the video.
举起你的右手，举起右手，举手，举手，举手，举手，举手，很好，很好。举左手，举左手，举左手，左手，右手，左手，举左手，很好。刷牙，刷牙，很好。对了，抽烟，抽烟，做饭。OK，因为他的孩子很小，他的孩子在哭。因为他的孩子想拿这个猴子，想摸这个猴子，但是他对，很有意思，但是他的孩子太小了，太矮了。
What this student did great is about the Chinese characters. So now let's move to Chinese characters. We didn't mention too much about Chinese characters, how to acquire that. But one day, after a few months, I can remember, but one day I show him one of my article which I wrote in Chinese, and it's not wrote for my foreign students, just for Chinese people. We talked about this. I show him, this is what I wrote about how I felt yesterday, like that. He read it, and I asked how much you can understand. I was surprised to know he told me 95%, nearly 95%. I was so surprised. I asked, how could you understand so much? You recognize so much Chinese characters. And he told me what he did is when he reviewed our videos, because he already understood what the general ideas. So when he watched the videos again, he will use some apps to generate subtitles automatically, like this. So maybe it's not 100% accurate, but nearly 90%. So when he watched the videos a lot, he read the subtitles a lot. When he read them a lot, he was familiar with the Chinese characters, because some Chinese characters, they are very, very commonly used, because you will have to see them a lot. Okay, so you don't need to memorize, you just get familiar with them when you watch them. Like the word 我喜欢, I like, blah blah, or 我是 Amber, I am Amber, like this. And you see this a lot, you will recognize these Chinese characters, so no need memorization. So I thought this is a very smart method, so I recommended to some other students, and they worked well in this method. So from this student I learned that you don't need to memorize the Chinese characters, and you just get familiar with them when you see them a lot. So Chinese characters is like speaking, or like comprehensible input, that you input a lot, you see them a lot by reading or by watching the subtitles, by watching some TV series, that you will naturally be acquired them. But in the beginning, when you just started the comprehensible input, just starting with the videos, maybe you will have the process to get familiar or get used to this method. Because we used to work with grammar, we cannot get used to it very quickly. Maybe after a few videos, maybe you will feel better. You will feel, you can get the general idea easier, or you don't struggle with each word. You can follow how it works. So if you are in this situation, I recommend maybe in the beginning you just focus on listening, focusing on be familiar with the method, with the comprehensible input, how it works, and be familiar with understanding the ideas, be familiar with this Chinese sense. You get the sense of the language. Then you start to read the subtitles. You start with Chinese characters. So don't worry if you cannot get the comprehensible input, the videos and the Chinese characters. You can start it later. So to recap, for the speaking and Chinese characters, no need to worry, because you can start them whenever you are ready. Even maybe it's 1 year later. Just do it whenever you are ready. What the most important thing is to know how comprehensible input works and get familiar with it to acquire them more effectively. Just input, repeatedly input. Get the general idea. Don't worry about speaking